Gary Russell is a problem. Now we got Gary Antuanne Russell, and he's a real mother, don't say that, problem. And he let all these fighters know at 140 pounds, he coming to take over, and he want all the smoke with all of your favorite fighters. But before we get into the video, make sure you sub to the channel if you're not already a sub, and hit that like button. Man, Gary Antuanne Russell, yeah, he calling out all your favorite fighters. You know, we seen Gary Antuanne Russell, and if you haven't seen him, you need to go to YouTube or do whatever you can to find him and to see his last fight. Now, we seen Gary Antuanne Russell in his last fight. He went out and destroyed Giovanni Santiago. And Giovanni Santiago, to give you an update on him, he is the last opponent that Adrien Broner fought. And if you ask me, he clearly beat AB. He beat Adrien Broner, and Adrien Broner got a gift decision. But, you know, Gary Antuanne Russell, he went out there and he got the job done. He put in the work. He went out there on Giovanni Santiago's head and he made a real fucking statement. You know what I'm saying? He walked him down the whole fight. He put that relentless pressure on him and he got him up out of there. I mean, he beat Giovanni Santiago so bad that Giovanni Santiago, he was in the corner and they asked him, did he want to continue fighting? And he told them, no, I got enough. I'm good. You know, he noticed that it was nothing that he could do with Gary Antuanne Russell, and he tapped out. You know what I'm saying? This ain't the UFC, but he hit that mat and he tapped out. He didn't want no more. You know, he wanted to live on to fight another day. And Gary Antuanne Russell is vicious. You know, a lot of people say, even his family say, that he is gonna be the best out of all the Russells, even better than Gary Russell. And that's a lot to be saying when it comes to Gary Russell, because we all know that Gary Russell is a problem for real. Gary Russell Jr., that is. Now, Gary Antuanne Russell, you know, he wanted to let it be known. AB, I want you. You know, AB, I went in there and I did the job that you couldn't do. I took care of your dirty work. You know, Al Heyman tried to feed you an opponent and you couldn't get the job done. So I went in there right behind you and took care of your work because you couldn't do your job. Now, since I had to take care of your work, since you left me your work to take care of, now you owe me. And you owe me a fight. And I'm coming for you, AB. I'm coming for you, AB. Now, we all know that Adrien Broner is not going to fight Gary Antuanne Russell. But Gary Antuanne Russell, he wanted to let the world know, if you not going to fight me, well then, I'll go down the line and I'll whoop all your homeboys. If Robert Easter want it, he can get it too. So tell Robert Easter what's up. And oh yeah, if Tank Davis saying that he want to stay at 140 pounds, well, Tank Davis gotta come see me. Now, we all know that Gary Russell Jr. has called out Tank Davis on numerous occasions. He's even called Tank Davis a bitch. He didn't call Tank Davis every name in the book, and Tank Davis has never responded to Gary Russell. All Tank Davis has done is said that Gary Russell's not getting a fight with him because Gary Russell ain't fought nobody. But we all know what that's about. You know, Tank Davis has never been enthused when Gary Russell's name was brought up, because you can't say that Gary Russell ain't done nothing and you ain't fighting Gary Russell, but then you fighting guys like Leo Santa Cruz and Gamboa, you know, when Gary Russell has the title. Gary Russell has said several times that he'll move up to 130 or 135 to take on Tank Davis, because, you know, he don't care for Tank Davis. He don't care for Floyd Mayweather, and he don't care for Tank Davis. But you know, we know how Floyd Mayweather and Leonard Ellerbe move. And some say that Floyd Mayweather and Leonard Ellerbe, they trying to blackball They trying to blackball my man Gary Russell just out of the sport. They not giving him no fights. And it's just dirty business going on. It's dirty business going on. But we got the basically, we got the two most vicious Russell brothers, and then we got Gary Antuanne Russell that fight in the lower weight classes. But we got the two most vicious Russell brothers. They calling out the whole squad. They calling out Tank Davis, Adrien Broner, and Robert Easter. So whatever one want to get it, and Gary Russell, he's so smooth with his shit. He like, I don't care if it's from 126 all the way to 140. I want the smoke. And Gary Antuanne Russell, he's subject to beat any of them. And that's including Tank Davis. If he want to go to 140, that's including Robert Easter. And he'll beat the dog shit out of Adrien Broner too. But like I said, I highly doubt that Adrien Broner, Robert Easter, or Tank Davis take a fight anytime soon with Gary Antuanne Russell. It's so many Russells, it's hard to keep up with all of them. But Gary Antuanne Russell, I highly doubt it. This kid is 13-0. I believe he damn near got all knockouts. I think he do got all knockouts. You know what I'm saying? He's 13-0 with 13 KOs. He's mean, rugged, and vicious. Now, the only thing about the Russells, and this is the same thing with Gary Antuanne Russell, they don't speak unless a mic is put in front of them. They don't do no interviews. They don't do no social media. And my whole thing is, with all of that talent, they need to speak a lot more and get their name out there. Gary Antuanne Russell is a talent, should be, the next mega superstar in the sport of boxing, or one of the next mega superstars in the sport of boxing. But he will have to sell himself a little more and do a lot more than just, get in the ring and perform in the ring. Because we know that boxing is a lot different nowadays than it was back in the day. But all in all, let's see. Let's see if Adrien Broner answers that call out. Let's see if Robert Easter answers that call out. Let's see what Tank Davis has to say with either Russell. And we already know in the past he hasn't had too much to say at all with Gary Russell. But don't get me wrong, Tank Davis could fight his motherfucking ass off. And I think Tank Davis, if he fights Gary Russell Jr. or Gary Antuanne Russell, will be a fucking problem for either one. But they'll be a problem for Tank Davis too. Those are great fights. That would be a great fight for the DMV area, and I mean, this is the type of fights that I wish we could see. But Gary Antuanne Russell, he has a long career ahead of him. Let's see where his career takes him. But right now, he want all the smoke. And I think, like I said, at 140 pounds, they just moved him in the top 5. And I think that Gary Antuanne Russell at 140 pounds, he might be the best in that whole division. He might be able to beat Josh Taylor, Regis Prograis, and all of them guys. And I'm saying might, because we have to see the fights happen, right? But the fight that I like the most right now, because quite frankly, I don't think none of those guys that Gary Antuanne Russell called out will fight him. The fight that I like the best right now is Gary Antuanne Russell versus the Rougarou Regis Prograis. Because I think that the Rougarou Regis Prograis, he'll let his nuts hang and he will answer that call out. The Rougarou don't back down from nobody. And if you say his name, you gotta answer to what you said about him, right? He gonna come out like the Rougarou do. The Rougarou will accept that fight if he calls out the Rougarou. So call out the Rougarou, Gary Antuanne Russell, if you really want a tough fight, and if you really want to fight a big name, call out the Rougarou, because the rest of them guys ain't gonna fight you. Now, Robert Easter might fight him. Might. I don't know what Robert Easter got in his plans right now, but I never seen Robert Easter duck nobody. But I know AB is not gonna fight him. I'm not gonna say I know it, but I really highly doubt AB is gonna fight him. And I know Tank Davis ain't gonna fight him. You feel me? But let's see where this goes. Like I said, be on the lookout for Gary Antuanne Russell. He is a mother problem. With that being said, y'all already know what to do. Hit the like button, sub to the channel if you're not already a sub to the channel. There you go, talking that boxing again, and I'm gone.